Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's time for a quant video. You guys have been asking for it, so here it is. Excuse me. We're going to go over what quant is, why it's important, and who's actually working with quant, and Gilbert Verdian, who's the CEO of quant. I'm going to break it all down for you. I got some great clips. This video might go a little long, but you definitely want to watch the whole thing. It'll give you a really good understanding of why quant is so important, okay? So check it out. Quant digital currencies. Most of the world's central banks are experimenting with digital currencies, while commercial banks are readying complementary products such as tokenized deposits and smart money. Secure, compliant digital currencies that operate at scale. Well-regulated digital currencies, whether at a national or commercial level, can give significant public benefits by increasing efficiency and reducing costs for both domestic and international systems. They can also play a major role in increasing financial inclusion by helping hundreds of millions of people, especially developing countries, to connect to financial systems. And then they talk about the challenge, but here's the solution. This is what we care about. To enable the simple and flexible implementation of a digital currency, a solution which provides the flexibility to support a wide range of use cases reliably, securely, and at scale for necessary commercial, national, and international implementation. We facilitate central bank digital currency issuance and transactions, tokenized deposits and liabilities, and issuance and transactions, programmable money. All right. Then they talk about principles, projects, and platform, explore the future, and there's some good information on here. Why quant? So when you're talking about interoperability and you're talking about central banks, all these systems need to work together, right? And quant, with 3 lines of code, you can make it interoperable with any blockchain. Interoperable, adaptability, programmability, ease of use, secure, and resilient. Excuse me. And then check it out. I just want to show you this real quick. I wasn't going to plan on showing this, but I want to show you this. All right. So if we look at something like quant next to Bitcoin. Okay, let me show you this. All right, so the total token supply for Bitcoin is 21 million Bitcoin, right? And you have a market cap here of, just like $580 billion, okay? Now let's look at Quant. Quant has a max token supply of 14,881,364. So you're talking about a lower supply than Bitcoin, 1/3 of the supply lower than Bitcoin, all right? And you look at Quant is sitting at 1 billion, right? Quant, in my mind, is going to be a multi-trillion-dollar ecosystem over the next 5 to 10 years, okay? As tokenization and adoption starts to run in all these different central banks, Quant is going to be the interoperability key layer of this new financial system. All right, guys, so now that we went over this, let me go ahead and get into this, right? So, excuse me, Augustin Carlson, he is the founder, or not the founder, he is the leader of the BIS. The BIS is the central bank of central banks. They set policy and help out all of the other central banks. All of these, like Project Meridian, Project Dunbar, all of these projects are being done inside of the BIS all over the world, all right? Let me play this clip. This is Augustin Carlson's talking about interoperability and how it's important for central banks.
Central banking, central bank digital currencies, would it not make sense just to have one worldwide? I know it's a bit of a weird question, but what do you think?
No, I mean, I think that each central bank, each country should have its own sovereign currency. What is important, and I think a lot of the work that we are doing is, given that pretty much all central banks are thinking about this, it's a unique opportunity for the different central banks' digital currencies to be interoperable, that their systems are congruent between each other, and therefore that transactions in different currencies can be done in a seamless way. As a matter of fact, today we published a report, the CPMI IOSCO report on CBDC and international payments. And there the idea is precisely what is the design features that CBDCs should have, so that you can make 24/7 instant payments between countries with very low commissions. I mean, today, a payment from, let's say, Mexico to the US can take days, and sometimes the commissions you pay is 7%. That's really
7% commissions, right? Imagine this. Imagine central banks and banks working in the old banking system, right? Where they're being charged up to 7% to move value. Now bring in Quant, an XRP, an XDC, right? You're able to move that value at a much cheaper price, right? that will give the people, which is you and me, better services, cheaper cost to send money, right? This is what we need in this new digital age. All right, let me finish this.
So what I think we need to do is to take advantage of the fact that pretty much everybody is starting from a clean slate, so that we can incorporate from the origin the interconnectedness between the different systems.
Interconnectedness of the different systems. They're talking really about Quant here, right? And then listen to him talk about the network of networks. Listen to this, guys.
A good financial infrastructure where the settlement of assets can take place. And that's the vision we have, and that's the vision we would want to develop. It's very ambitious. I think the unified ledger, we have mentioned it as a concept, but in a more working plane, it would be easier understood as a network of networks.
Would you like to add something?
No, well, I fully agree with Agustin. Just one point I think which is important in that respect is often it's not only technology, it's of governance, rules, etc. that make international payments more difficult. So you have to accept all those counterparties on your ledger. You have to accept that they use this money. You have to prove whether all the rules with regard to money laundering and anti-terrorist financing are respected, etc. So all those things have nothing to do with technology, but are fundamental and make then also think it more difficult to have this international payment. So we have to find ways, maybe also through artificial intelligence, to respect all those rules in a way that they are efficient and then use the technology so that the overall payments are.
So guys, understand this. Quant is not a bridge asset like XRP and kind of like XLM. So what they're doing with Quant is they're building out all of these systems, and it's kind of like the main system that banks will use, Treasury and the back office and all that stuff. But then when you want to send a payment, Quant can work with XRP through bridges and settle those transactions, right? So you have Quant working with central banks, you have Ripple working with central banks, and you have Stellar working with, I think it was Ukraine, right? With their CBDC. So these are the reason we talk about all these assets. Let me just share you more information right here, right?
My favorite thing about Quant.
This is Gilbert.
We invent and push boundaries every day. We live in a hyper-connected world and society that's ever growing and ever.
Hyper-connected. That's like me. I'm hyper.
The purpose at Quant is to unleash the power of networks as connected as the world we live in.
Network and networks, right?
Blockchain and DLT, distributed ledger technologies, are transformational and foundational to society.
Preach!
The biggest challenges that enterprise face is the lack of interoperability and the ease of use.
Quant is solving the problem of complexity in DLT in two ways. One is to make it much easier to use. So we have an API that hides all of the complexity, makes it straightforward for developers to work with DLTs. The other thing, so at the moment, there's lots of areas that are isolated where there's a lot of value, and we connect those together and make them available through the same easy-to-use interface.
We're split into two sections, R&D and engineering. So our R&D does the complex heavy lifting and understanding how to solve the problem in a prototype, and then we hand it over to engineering to make it enterprise-level application.
Our core technology, Overledger, delivers universal interoperability that is fit for future and enterprise-oriented. We see numerous possibilities for enterprise and developer use cases for Overledger.
The way I see the technology being applied in the mid-market is mainly around finance. So tokenization of assets, new models for syndicated loans, new models for trade finance. There's a number of initiatives in that area, and Overledger will accelerate those because at the moment they are traditional blockchain projects that are working in isolation. The way I see the technology being applied more at a macro scale is systems that are linking countries and linking trade blocks, so EU region, Latin America region, and then specific corridors between countries where many flows are being digitalized on DLT, and those DLTs need linking together to make that work properly.
Quant is the glue behind the scenes, right? Here's Gilbert again talking about Quant. Check this out.
What we actually need to focus on is the institutional use of a payment using a digital asset. So a commercial stablecoin, which is issued by a bank, it's backed by collateral, and you can use it interchangeably, it's interoperable, you can use it across borders, and then it's actually settled and collated back to the central bank. And what that will do is really allow new forms of money to exist. It's a digital dollar, a digital pound, a digital euro, for consumers to be able to conduct automation, have better privacy protection. Using a new form of money gives us a way to do things which we couldn't do before. In the future, what we'll have is multiple jurisdictions having different forms of commercial stablecoins, which are all regulated as money, interoperating within their jurisdiction, but then cross-border for
various use cases, right? Keep it going. This is another clip from talking about API gateways is the key to digital asset interoperability. Thank you, Greg Lunt.
When interoperability will be more standardized, we will have cryptocurrencies banks having to exchange assets with each other in a more structured way. So they could have, for example, a gateway running on secure hardware that has installed a DLT node and the ODAP protocol. It has a validator, it has some software on top that, for example, implements Russian API like over a ledger. We can look at it as a logical unit that has node functionality and some services on top of it.
Guys, if you have a siloed system and you bring in Overledger, that is your interoperability to connect with everything else, right? Let's play some more here. Check this out. This is from the BIS, right? Project Rosalind. And we think behind the scenes,
Central bank digital currency.
A lot of us think behind the scenes, Project Rosalind, they're talking about Quant.
Or CBDCs are digital forms of cash. Many central banks are exploring the use of CBDCs to buy goods and services in shops and online. Project Rosalind from the BIS Innovation Hub London Centre and the Bank of England is testing how APIs could enable retail CBDC payments and support innovation. The project builds a prototype of this API.
There you go.
APIs define how systems should talk to each other. The prototype connects central bank ledgers with private sector service providers. It experiments with API functionalities that would enable providers to develop applications. These applications would help individuals and businesses to manage their CBDC balances with the central bank and make payments to each other in shops and online. Working with collaborators from the public and private sectors, the project explored many CBDC use cases. Some use cases tested integration with existing payment systems, some tried new ways to make payments, and some tested applications with emerging technology. The project explored how the API prototype could support private sector programmability. For example, after placing an order, a customer could agree to put away a certain amount of CBDCs so that a merchant could have certainty that the customer will be able to pay. Programmability could also allow payments to be triggered when agreed conditions are met, so that consumers would only be charged when their orders are delivered.
So right now, when you pay for something online, you're paying for it, and then you have to wait and hope it comes in the mail, right? Often, I used to live in a place where we had people that would steal all the mail and the packages. So when I ordered something, I would never get it. So this is really cool. So instead of you being charged right away, you get charged when you actually take possession of the asset, which is really great for you and me.
The project also tested a privacy model that would not give the central bank access to users' personal data.
That's what we need for CBDCs.
The Rosalind experiment shows that the API prototype could support many different use cases and could work with different central bank ledger technologies. It could connect the central bank, service providers, individuals and businesses to create an ecosystem. New ways to make payments could be added as the ecosystem continues to innovate.
How do you know you've reached adoption, right? Adoption of Web3. It's when people are using the technology and they don't even realize they're using cryptocurrency. That's when you reach adoption. Here is actually, you know what? This is a little bit longer clip. You know, I might play that clip at the end. Here, let me play this. This is Christine Lagarde. Breaking news. Watch the ECB President Christine Lagarde spills the beans. Eagerly anticipated the launch of the digital euro. They are going to decide on this in October of this year. And I got another little piece at the end here talking about November might be a big month.
Just to be clear, a digital euro will happen when?
That will be decided by the governors in Governing Council. We will decide that at the end of October, and then there will be another phase of piloting, experimenting, fine-tuning, because if and when we go, as will be decided by the Governing Council at large, we want to get it right. So we're not going to do a half start or a fake start. We will move with success.
We will move with success, and believe me, the winners have already been chosen, my friends. All right. Also, let me play this clip. Check this out.
Do you see that there's a chasm building where on one side we have the speculation, on the other side we just simply have, to be frank, blockchain business happening right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the middle of, as I keep saying, re-architecting the financial system, and we're shaping it. we're right at the forefront.
We're shaping
the stuff
it.
that we're doing with central banks is going to be huge, and that's around November where we can talk about it. And
so isn't that interesting? Christine Lagarde is going to announce what they're going to be doing in October, and Gilbert's saying November would be a big month for information and news. So you got to listen to this kind of stuff, guys. I do think Quant is going to be working with the ECB and possibly Ripple too, right? You got to understand that Quant is not a bridge asset. So sometimes when you're sending payments, you need a bridge asset, but the technology behind it that's built out could be Quant, all right?
it's allowing interoperability of digital assets for central banks. And you've seen, and I've been talking about central bank digital currencies on my Twitter, so I've got a whole thread, I think about 8 minutes.
Yes, I've seen that. And Gil, with that banking aspect in November, are we talking about at a global scale, something to really change the game?
Yeah. It's something that we met with one of the central banks at Starbucks. We had a good meeting. They even put their Quant stickers on their laptops. We gave everyone stickers. And
So you guys got to understand, right? These are the people meeting behind the scenes with central bankers. It's Ripple and it's the team at Quant. These two are really going to reshape how money moves around the planet and how we are going to interact with digital tokenized value every day.
they love what we do, and it solves a big problem for them, but it really changes the game in financial services. Having central banks use digital assets and have interoperability. I mean, that's amazing.
He's just told you that he's in these meetings with central bankers and they're talking about having central bank money, right? Or digital currencies in banks. That's kind of what I'm hearing here, guys. Digital Pound Foundation Board of Director, Quant founder, CEO Gilbert Vidian took part in a webinar, right? He is on the board of the Digital Pound Foundation. This is I don't know if it's private, but they're working on different solutions for CBDCs. This is the foundation, excuse me. Also too, Quant plus central banks. Here's Quant, European Central Bank. Right? Makes those connections, guys. Also, Quant is not a security. Buying on the secondary markets are not investment contracts. Quant did not execute their ICO in America. So here you go, guys, right? Let's go back to this longer clip here that I want to play at towards the end, and we will finish off today. I know it's a little bit longer of a video, guys, but I guarantee you've learned something in this video. And if you have, guys, please subscribe. If you want to support me, become a super subscriber or join Kryptonaires. Either way, guys, I could use your support. Thank you very much.
We're living in an exciting time right now. This time that we're in only happens every 30 to 40 years. The last time we moved from paper finance to electronic, and that was in the 60s and the 70s. We then went digital, but now we're in a state where we're actually able to go decentralized, which means we're able to disintermediate how we run the financial system and give people access to technology and the whole system in a new way. So we're doing things which were never done before.
And it's Cyboss, and you've had a launch, you've been involved in a launch. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yes, so we're quite excited. One of the biggest problems that we've solved with our technology is the ability to interconnect. And the technology we've solved is blockchain. Everyone is loving that technology. It's being widely implemented and adopted, but the barrier is removing the ability to trust and interoperate and have flexibility. So we've taken those barriers away, and we've allowed financial institutions, central banks, MIs to be able to use any blockchain at scale. And we've implemented this technology within payment infrastructure, within capital markets, and in central banks. And what we've done is we've created a network of networks that's fit for a hyper-connected world.
Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Network of networks. Let me play that back. Remember what Augustin Carlson said, right?
Structure within capital markets and in central banks. And what we've done is we've created a network of networks that's fit for a hyper-connected world. And that's quite exciting, because if you look at how we're doing the system and innovation, we're operating in silos. And what we've done is we've allowed everyone to innovate and build, but we've interconnected everyone. We're allowing people to have access to new technologies, new customers, and keep what they've already got, but making it compatible and interoperable.
And of course, the theme of this year's Cyboss.
All right, guys. Here, we don't need to hear the rest of that, but check this out. Over ledger, enterprise permission blockchains, public permission blockchains, existing networks, right? Quant connects it all. It's the glue behind the scenes, right? That interledger protocol with Ripple that they gifted to the W3C guys, that is the foundation of the new financial system. I've just laid it out for you. I've shown you what network of networks is, and this is why I'm so bullish on Quant. It's in my top 3, guys. I hope you got value out of this video. I really appreciate you spending this time with me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys. Ciao.